Namaste, and thank you so much for joining us today for World Bindi Day. This initiative is to celebrate the history, science, and significance of bindis and tilaks. This event is part of Hindu Heritage Month and is brought to you in partnership with Mission Bindi, Hindu Students' Council, and the Coalition of Hindus of North America. Our international partners include British Hindus, Bhuvir, Hindu on Campus, Hindu Parents Network, Hindu Students and Youth Network, Hindu Students' Council Trinidad and Tobago, Hindu Youth New Zealand, and New Zealand Hindu Students Forum. I'd like to now introduce the founder of Mission Bindi, Archita Nemalikanti. Archita ji is a high school student from Hopkinton, Massachusetts. She's the founder of Mission Bindi, the organization that spreads awareness of the Bindi and also started World Bindi Day back in 2020. Archita ji will give the welcome address. The floor is yours.
Namaste, Shohini ji. Thank you. Welcome, chief guests, and happy Navratri to you all. Wow, what a first day of Navratri in Hindu Heritage Month. And here we are celebrating World Bindi Day. This time, our celebrations are not only from 15 locations in the United States, but also from international locations like New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Australia, and the United Kingdom. It is so nice to see all the Bindi and Tilak pictures coming through from different locations worldwide. Many people from all across the world also signed in. I actually got a registration from a girl somewhere in Patna, in India, who was greeting me with Radhe Radhe. And until that time, I never knew that we can greet people with Radhe Radhe. So, what a diverse culture we have. The reason why this event is a great success is because I see, at least in a few Hindus, a strong thirst to assert themselves, to be what they want in this mainstream society. They no longer want to be a shy closet Hindu. A simple acceptance of who we are is what they want. But there are a majority of Hindus who are still indifferent to the Bindi or to our culture. To be frank, the majority of my contemporaries are like that, and honestly, I don't blame them, because their priorities are based on what they see in today's mainstream society. To fit in with the popular kids, to get into a good college or school, and the list goes on. Somehow there is a narrative mixed in that the Bindi or Tilak is not cool, which is why youth are reluctant to wear the Bindi and in turn assert their culture. How did the turban and how did the hijab become cool and acceptable and the Bindi Tilak become aggressive and old-fashioned? The narratives should change. I am expecting community leaders to think in those lines of the young generation and give us a direction here. These celebrations like World Bindi Day are needed to make us believe in ourselves. Folks ask me, like, Archita, why do we need to protect this Bindi? It's such a small aspect of Hindu Dharma. I ask them to look into their own homes. Look at your grandmother. Look at your own mother. They must have been wearing the Bindi all their lives, as a matter of fact. But see how most of our current generation folks are. It's not that visible anymore. The Bindi is slowly fading away right before our eyes. And the stories are right in our home. We don't have to go far, far away or read a research journal to understand the fading away of the Bindi. The Bindi, like our other cherished traditions, has been with us since generations. The chain never broke. Some way or the other, we Hindus fought for our identity and we were resilient to carry it over. So the onus is on us current Hindus, to protect, preserve, and retain this age-old tradition of wearing the Bindi. We in Mission Bindi believe to take a holistic approach to spread more Bindi awareness. As a part of this, last year, we, along with my design partner, Diksha, submitted a Bindi emoji proposal to Unicode. People ask why this Bindi emoji is necessary. Is it even that important? Emojis may not seem like a big deal, but it's one more way for a lot of people like us to feel acknowledged and represented. People should start thinking in terms of Bindi or Tilak consciously or subconsciously when they talk or when they type in their smartphones. When I last checked Unicode, this Bindi emoji proposal, is still pending in consideration. I hope it's approved so that we can all use it in our smartphones soon. Today, there are many opposing narratives for Hindus, and I strongly believe this Bindi can be that rallying point under which we all can unify and counter these opposing narratives. By simply wearing a Bindi and asserting your identity, half the battle is already won. Seeing today's pictures, I am confident that the Bindi is still there in the hearts and minds of millions of us. All we need to do is pass this tradition on to the next generation, just like how our ancestors passed it down to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archita ji, for your talk and for starting this initiative. Our next speaker is Sushil Pandit ji, who is a world-renowned social activist. He is co-founder of Roots in Kashmir. He is known as the voice of Kashmiri Pandits. Apart from all of this, he is a well-informed speaker and walking encyclopedia of Kashmiri history. Namaste, Sushil ji, and thank you so much for being here.
Namaste. Thanks for having me, and congratulations, Archita, for organizing this event and persevering with it year after year. I'm happy to be wearing my tilak today for your event, even before you suggested that I did. Today is the first Navratri, and I greet all Hindus on this joyous occasion. Bindi or tilak is a very important marker of our identity as Hindus. There are several other markers, but the most visible marker very often is Bindi, and it goes across genders. Among men, there is one more important marker, and that is the shikha, which I also have started having. And it's been there for centuries, several millennia. These are the physical manifestations of our identity that we carry. And they have a meaning. Some of us may not be aware of their meaning, and therefore we may not add much, give much value to it, look at it as something important, because either we do not know or we don't care to find out. And there aren't too many readily available sources or people to tell us. But no more. A whole lot of information today is available as we live in digital age. If you are interested, you care to know, you will get to know. How are we distinct as Hindus? That we need these markers of our identity to distinguish us. Well, in the world we live, we believe that we are more than just human beings in flesh and blood. In flesh and blood, we take birth and we pass away. But as our scriptures tell us, as Bhagavad Gita tells us that we are eternal. We are not our body alone. The body is an instrument with us. We reside in the body, as some people call it soul. I prefer to call it as consciousness. What is consciousness? Very often, some people conflate or confuse it with being sentient. Being sentient is to feel or to perceive, like all animals, all living beings very often are, and we see the evidence of it. Consciousness goes a step beyond. It is about to be aware, to know, to be cognizant. That is consciousness. And which part of our body helps us be conscious is this, the frontal lobe of our mind. This is where we have the functional memory, right between our brows. This is where our Agya Chakra resides, right here, that guides us in terms of our functions, our memory, our responses, our impulses, our intuitions. So when we wear a tilak or a bindi right here, we underline who we are as we philosophically define ourselves. We call ourselves pure consciousness that never dies. Even if the body withers away, the consciousness gets another body. And we go through the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. That is the belief we are rooted in as Hindus. And that distinguishes us. The concept of rebirth, the concept of karma, the concept of viveka. And where does viveka come from? From being conscious, from being aware of who we are, aware of where do we exist, in what circumstances, in what context, our surroundings, and also aware of our own awareness or the lack of it. These are the three levels at which consciousness works. There is a scripture, a shastra, a knowledge tradition called Mandokya Upanishad. It deals with 4 stages of consciousness. The waking stage, the dream stage, the deep sleep stage, and then the Turiya stage, which is called the enlightenment stage. In the Western worldview, consciousness is actually about what is manifested in our waking state and what we perceive. Our forefathers, our rishis, have gone far beyond it, which is why there is a great deal of emphasis on contemplation in our culture, in our tradition, in our philosophical pursuit of life. That is why we hold consciousness extremely important. If I were to be a little flippant and, let's say, a little facetious here, the Abrahamic religions, because they are the religions, we are dharma, we are a tradition, they call themselves people of the book, because each one of them have a book, a text. We have no one book. In fact, we have far too many books. We have several texts, and we are not people of a book. If we were to define ourselves, who we are the people of consciousness. We are the people of contemplation. We are the people of inquiry. We are people of seeking answers. We are the people of debate. We are the people of evolution. We are the people of changing with the times and staying in step with them. This little dot here between our brows, on our forehead, defines all of it and more, underscores this aspect of who we are. And hence, it reminds us all the time to be contemplative, to be meditative, to be asking questions, to be searching for answers, to make that inquiry and never be afraid, to be inquisitive, which is why we hold Nachiketa so dear. As a brave little boy, he could engage even the god of death, Yamaraja, in a conversation to seek his own answers. As a culture, as a civilization, we believe in asking questions. And today, we are in the midst of such traditions, cultures call themselves religions, where asking questions is inviting death, where expressing doubt is akin to asking for a punishment. That's how we are different. And with the tilak, with the bindi, we wear that difference with pride, with honor, with recognition of what our ancestors have bequeathed us as a timeless tradition. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for your thought-provoking perspective, Sushilji. We really appreciate the time that you spent with us today. We have had several people send video messages in to share their thoughts on the meaning of bindi or tilak. Let's listen to a few of these statements. Our first message is from Preeti Upalaji, thought leader and media entrepreneur, who was one of our chief guests during our first World Bindi Day celebration last year.
Namaste. Jai Hind. My name is Preeti Upala, and I would like to wish everyone a very happy World Bindi Day. The Bindi is a beautiful and essential part of Bharatiya and Sanatani culture. It's a beautiful expression of our tradition, and we must savor it and make sure that the younger generation wears it proudly, and we make sure that it's around for many, many more hundreds of years to come. So wear your bindi proudly and be a proud Sanatani woman. The bindi. It's not just a bindi. It's a 6,000-year-old civilizational expression. Enjoy the World Bindi Day. Dhanyavad. Thank you. This is Preeti Upala. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Preeti ji, for your constant support last year and this year. Our next speaker is Sahana Singh ji. She is an author and commentator based in Texas, USA. She is an environmental engineer by qualification who writes on a variety of issues, including Indian history, water management, and education. Her first book, The Educational Heritage of Ancient India, How an Ecosystem of Learning Was Laid to Waste, has been appreciated for awakening Indians to the role played by India in spreading knowledge around the world. Her second book, titled Revisiting the Educational Heritage of India, published by Vitasta, has been just released. Sahana ji is on the board of many nonprofit organizations related to history, heritage, education, restoration of samskara, and to the cause of helping Hindu refugees. Namaste, Sahana ji.
Namaste. It is an absolute pleasure to celebrate my Bindi and my Hindu heritage with all of you today. It is a hard act to speak after Sushil Pandit ji, but I will try. I think there might be a little overlap, but I hope the viewers will understand. So, the Bindi has been a very important part of my identity, even before I knew what it stood for. So, as a girl, I applied the Bindi only because I thought it looked good on me. But later in life, I came to know that in between the brows on the forehead is where the Agnya Chakra is located, which is called the third eye. So the Bindi is said to enhance the power of the chakra. That is something I came to know much later in life. So I came to know that we have two eyes that look outwards and perceive the outer world, but we have this third eye which looks inwards and is also our tool for intuition and self awareness. Of course, not everyone who applies the bindi has developed the subtle power of the Agnya chakra. But if we become aware of the significance of the bindi or tilak, then perhaps one day we can explore this understanding. Typically, most of the Hindu practices have some deeper meaning, which we come to know only when we ask questions. That is something I have discovered. So there will be something which is very routine, like lighting a lamp or making a rangoli, or when a book falls on the floor, we pick it up and make it touch our forehead. And we just do it mechanically. But if we ask questions and wonder why this practice started, that's when we realize how remarkably profound these practices are, and how they all connect to the essence of Hinduism. So this is the beauty of Hinduism. It seamlessly links the routine to the profound. Coming to the bindi, I remember that I was not allowed to wear it in school. It was a school run by the Methodist Church in Kolkata, a very well-known school. And the girls wore school uniforms, skirts and blouses. So I remember a time when there was the Gauri Ganesha Puja, which fell on a weekday. So I had to go to school in the morning, of course. And my parents ensured that the puja was done in the morning before I went to school. And after that, I had to run to catch the public transport to go to school. And when I reached school, my friends said, "Oh, you can't have a bindi on your forehead. It's not allowed." But I didn't pay attention to them. And then later in the day, a school prefect came to me and said the same thing. She said that if I did not remove the bindi, then there'll be a punishment. There might be something, she'll report me to the teacher. But eventually I was let off that day. But at that time, I did not think much about it. Today, I realized that that was terribly Hindu phobic, and it was all in the name of discipline. And in the guise of equality and homogeneity, we were being stripped of our identity right in India. It is not even that, we were outside India. In India, in schools, we were not allowed to wear bindi. And there was a certain smugness about it when people would tell us not to wear it. So with this kind of schooling, it is not surprising that so many of us are disconnected from our heritage. We did not come out of school feeling proud, feeling any kind of pride for being Hindu, even though there was so much to be proud about. So I have been very lucky that despite that kind of a schooling, I came into contact with the works of Dr. N.S. Rajaram and Dr. David Frawley in the 2000. And that is what enabled me to get connected to my Hindu heritage, that thread which led back to my civilization. One thing led to the other, and I found myself writing about India's educational heritage. My new book is titled Revisiting India's Educational Heritage, which was just mentioned very kindly by the host. So I hope you will all read it. If there's one thing that makes me proud to be a Hindu, to be a follower of Sanatana Dharma, it is the fact that we give so much importance to knowledge, to the search for truth, to the guru, to the acharya, to the whole process of learning and seeking. I think the quest for truth is what makes us Hindus stand out. So much of what we consider as modern knowledge today has actually come from ancient India. The roots are in ancient India. So the entire land of India was covered with centers of learning, universities, and different kinds of educational institutes like pathshalas, temple schools, mathas, viharas, and what have you. So if you read my book, you'll find the most famous ones plotted on a map of India. And we had a vast array of subjects: medicine, sciences, math, languages, art, philosophy, so many subjects. And today, if you go and look at the academic disciplines today, if we trace the foundational concepts of any academic discipline that is being pursued today, you will find that it leads back to ancient India. So I would say that the edifice of modern knowledge would not have been built without the rigorous work done by our gurus, our acharyas. So there was also an understanding that there are two kinds of knowledge. There is lower knowledge, which dealt with material things, and higher knowledge, which transcended the material things, which made you experience the self. So there were two kinds of knowledge, and every subject could be studied in two ways. So if you studied physics, chemistry, biology, medicine, mathematics, if you studied them at the physical level, it meant that you were studying it at the lower level, even if it was very advanced. Even advanced mathematics, all this actually came under the category of lower level of knowledge. But if you were able to transcend the physical aspect of the subject, for example, if you were able to realize the limitation of physical sciences like biology, and if you were able to move on to understand the consciousness itself, if you could see the limitation of the lower sciences and move on to realize the supreme consciousness, then you were moving to the higher level. That's the way it was understood. And I must highlight that lower knowledge was not considered less important. It was known that this is a part of the journey. So you have to understand the limitations of lower knowledge before you move on to the next level. It is all connected. That was the understanding. So in India, we find the earliest example of truly holistic education. There was a distinction made between the mere intellectual appreciation of truth and its real realization. So this brings me back to the topic of Agnya Chakra, which is a subtle entity, and it is the meeting point of the nadis. So the nadis are the subtle channels along which our prana flows in the body, and so they meet at the Agnya Chakra. And when the Agnya Chakra is activated, it would help us to gain higher knowledge, which is beyond the five senses and beyond intellect. So you see, the Bindi is far more than a dot on the forehead. It is reminding us to seek out higher knowledge. So with this, I come to the end of my speech. Wish you all a very happy World Bindi Day and happy Hindu Heritage Month.
Thank you so much, Sahana ji, for your talk. We appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us today. Our next video message comes from Shilpa Nair ji. She is the president of People for Dharma and is managing director and CEO of Bluebird Packaging Industries LLC. She is also a trained classical vocalist and dancer.
Namaste, I'm Shilpa Nair. When I was a little girl and I used to attend dance classes, I still remember my teacher coming into the class and checking whether we have our bindis on, our eyes drawn, our hair neatly plaited. The bindi has been with me ever since. It gave me a sense of pride of my culture. There may be many scientific reasons why we wear the bindi. They say that we have 7 chakras in our body. And the 6th chakra, which is situated here, is one of the most important, and it's called the third eye. It brings in a divinity within ourselves. So happy Bindi Day to all of you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Shilpa ji, for your support. The whole Hindu community reached out to state and local officials to have Hindu Heritage Month formally recognized. We are excited that the Plano and Dallas proclamations came from the effort of Hindu Students' Council in order to get these proclamations passed. We are very proud of our students for their hard work. Well done. I'll now be reading the Plano Proclamation for Hindu Heritage Month and World Bindi Day. It reads, whereas each October, Hindu communities across the globe celebrate Hindu Heritage Month and World Bindi Day, whereas World Bindi Day is an international event that recognizes the ancient tradition of wearing the bindi or tilak, and for thousands of years the symbol has served as the most recognized external trait displayed by Hindus, and whereas Hinduism is one of the world's oldest religions, and among other things, their beliefs include the pursuit of knowledge of truth and reality, to strive for moral order, right action, and the promotion of tolerance, whereas there are about 4 million Indian American Hindus in America. Plano proudly touts one of the largest Hindu populations in Texas, and the Sri Raghunath, one of the most popular Hindu mandirs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as well. And whereas we applaud our Hindu neighbors for their many contributions, and especially their passion to give back to our community through service, the generosity they have displayed only adds to the rich fabric of our diverse community. Now, therefore, I, John B. Munns, Mayor of the City of Plano, Texas, do hereby proclaim October 2021 as Hindu Heritage Month and Thursday, October 7th, 2021 as World Bindi Day in Plano. I do thereby encourage all citizens to join me and the Plano City Council in recognizing the many cultural influences of our Hindu citizens that contribute to the City of Excellence. Our next video message is from the Mayor Munns of Plano, Texas.
I'm John Munns, Mayor of Plano, and I'm honored to wish you a happy Hindu Heritage Month and happy World Bindi Day. It is inspiring to know that PISD students are leading the effort to celebrate your faith and culture on this special occasion. Plano is known as a multicultural city that embraces diversity. There are about 4 million Indian American Hindus in the United States. We're proud that Plano is home to one of the largest Hindu populations in Texas. One of the most popular Hindu mandir in the DFW Metroplex, the Sri Raghunath, is located in Plano. This neighborhood temple is a wonderful place where children can immerse themselves in Hindu culture and where members engage through service to our community. Our Hindu community members are an integral part of the rich, diverse fabric of Plano, the City of Excellence. I hope you enjoy celebrating this special occasion together this evening.
Thank you so much, Mayor Munns, for your support. We will now move on to our final chief guest. Our next speaker is Assemblywoman Jenifer Rajkumar. She is a first-generation American and the first-generation American in her family. Assemblywoman Rajkumar is a civil rights lawyer and is also a professor at CUNY. Assemblywoman Rajkumar graduated from Stanford Law School with distinction for her pro bono legal work on behalf of vulnerable individuals. She was appointed by the Governor of New York as the Director of Immigration Affairs for New York State. Last year, Assemblywoman Rajkumar made history as the first Hindu American woman ever to be elected to a state office in New York. Namaste, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Namaste. And I wish everyone a happy Navratri. May Goddess Durga shower you with her blessings and bless you with the strength, wisdom, and courage to overcome all the obstacles in your way. And happy World Bindi Day. The Bindi to me has always symbolized the third eye, the eye that can see the invisible, the eye that can see what is unseen and that can see deeper. Bindi represents the seat of concealed wisdom. And as the first Hindu American ever elected to office in New York State, I wear one with pride tonight. I have always been interested in bindi as fashion as well. It is amazing to me the beautiful types of bindis that are made. Last year, I am proud to say that we made history. I became the first Hindu American ever elected to a government office in New York State. And I am also the first Indian American woman to be elected to state office in New York. But I know I am certainly not the last one. Our community is breaking barriers like never before. On this Navratri, I am happy to say that this truly is our time. We have emerged in the USA, and it's time for us to take our seat at the table of power in our great country. When I started my campaign last year for state office against an 11-year incumbent, people said, "You have no shot. It's impossible." But we won. And not only did we won by the largest margin of any challenger in the state with a whopping 27 percentage points. The people supported us and we made history. Today, I would like to personally thank CONA, the Coalition of Hindus of North America, and also the Hindu students around the country who organized this. You all represent the emerging power of the Hindu American community, and the celebration today of World Bindi Day is most welcome as we become this emerging grassroots army. As a Hindu, my parents took me to the Arya Samaj on Sundays, and when I was in high school, I studied Gandhi, like so many Indian children do. I was inspired by Gandhi's movement, which was based on the Hindu principles of ahimsa, nonviolence, and satyagraha, soul force. And when I learned about all of this, I made the decision to live a life of service. I became a vegetarian, and I still am one to this day. My Hindu faith actually sees me through in my life as a public servant and in politics. Hinduism has informed my life. First, Hinduism taught me focus. When I was growing up, my dad would tell me to focus, using the example of Arjuna from the Mahabharata. When the Pandav brothers were asked to shoot a bird, only Arjuna was successful. He was successful because he only saw the eye of the bird. My dad often told me throughout the years, focus on the eye of the bird. My father would also tell me the story of Ram from the Ramayana. In order to defeat Ravan, the demon king, Ram needed friends and allies. He had Hanuman and his army of monkeys and bears. The lesson here, my dad always showed me, is that you cannot operate alone. You need friends and allies to see you through. And yes, I say the Gayatri Mantra all the time. When I am overwhelmed and stressed, these sacred Sanskrit words are the words that I go to. And as we know, Hinduism also has a sacred goddess tradition, which I am proud to say on this occasion of Navratri. In my college years, I remember tracing the Devi through time in various Sanskrit texts. How proud we should be that our faith celebrates goddesses. Before I started my political endeavors, I sought blessings from the goddess Durga, and that is why I succeeded and became the first South Asian woman elected to a New York State office. And I am proud to announce here tonight that I have introduced a historic proclamation making October Hindu Heritage and Awareness Month in the state of New York. And I am proud that so many states across the country have done this. It's truly historic this October to have Hindu Heritage and Awareness Month all across the country. This year, I also introduced a bill in the state legislature to make Diwali a school holiday in New York. The time has come to recognize Diwali, and in so doing, to recognize the dharmic faiths in the United States, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Let us spread this dharmic light across the United States. Hindu principles have already had a profound and positive impact in the United States. It was Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, rooted in Hindu principles, that inspired Martin Luther King's civil disobedience movement in the United States. Great American philosophers such as Ralph Waldo Emerson of the 1800s drew from Hindu principles, and Americans have adopted meditation and yoga. Working hand in hand with some of you recently, including Kona and Hindu students, I also helped defeat a New York State bill that would have misappropriated and misrepresented the Hindu symbol of swastik, which stands for peace and harmony. So I want to leave you with this on this Navratri and on this World Bindi Day. As the Hindu American community emerges in America and as we organize, we must remember to always put our best foot forward and answer naysayers who don't understand our culture with love. Hinduism has always promoted tolerance, interfaith ideals, and accommodation. As a child, I went to Hindu Heritage Summer Camp, and I'm sure many of you here know the camp I'm speaking about and may have attended it yourself. We learned that God has many forms. God is Lakshmi, God is Durga, God is Shiva, God is Ganesha. God also can be Jesus. God can also be Allah. There is only one Om, but Om takes many different forms. So let us always show America what Hinduism is, a faith that embraces tolerance and interfaith harmony. Let's put our best foot forward in the United States of America. Thank you so very much, and happy World Bindi Day to all.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Rajkumar ji. We really appreciate your service to America and for being a proud Hindu. All of our speakers, Sushil Pandit ji, Sahana Singh ji, and Assemblywoman Rajkumar ji, serve as inspirations and role models for Hindu students around the world. Thank you to all of our speakers today. Our last video message comes from Renee Lynn from The Voice for India.
This is Renee Lynn, Voice for India. I am honored to be a part of the World Bindi Day. I'd just like to say to all the ladies out there, young and old, be proud to wear a bindi. We should celebrate wearing a bindi. Feel confident because the bindi is a direct connection to our Hindu culture, as it reflects you embracing your heritage with pride. Just as Muslims wear hijab and Christians wear a cross to reflect their culture, Hindus should wear a bindi, showing an appreciation for India's colorful and spiritual culture. Also, do you know it has many health benefits as it boosts memory and concentration and improves intuition. So ladies, let's all get out there and show our pride to India's rich and spiritual culture. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Renee ji, for your support. We are now going to show pictures of World Bindi Day celebrations from around the world. So I'd first like to bring our attention over to our friends over at Hindu Students Council of Trinidad and Tobago. We are so excited that they have taken a huge part of World Bindi Day this time. And right now we are currently having a World Bindi Day competition that they started, where people can submit their interesting, unique, beautiful bindi designs, and they submitted these on social media with the hashtag, and our friends over in Trinidad and Tobago are going to be looking through all the pictures and giving awards to the most creative bindi or tilak designs. And so we have been so pleased with our partnership with these wonderful individuals, and are very excited to be part of this initiative with them. Next, I want to take us over to New Zealand, where our friends with Hindu Youth New Zealand and New Zealand Hindu Students Forum are celebrating the tilak in bindi in their own way and sharing their perspectives over in New Zealand and all of the different places on that side of the world. So we really appreciate their support in World Bindi Day as well. Next, I take you over to Atlanta, Georgia, over in the US, where Consul General Dr. Swati V. Kulkarni, who is the Consulate General of India, showed her support for World Bindi Day by sending us these pictures and endorsing this wonderful initiative. Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni ji. Next, we bring you over to Dallas, Texas, where they are actually having a World Bindi celebration right now. They're doing this live. It's actually going on right now as we speak. And, everyone there was able to get together in a mandir and celebrate in the Sri Raghunath Mandir and celebrate the Bindi and the Tilak with a bunch of guest speakers and celebrations. So we are very excited to have them our friends over in Dallas, Texas, celebrate right now. Next, I bring you over to Rutgers University in New Jersey, in the USA. These students celebrated World Bindi Day both with an in-person event that they had a couple days ago, as well as by posting quotes about what the Bindi and the Tilak mean to them on social media. You can go over to their Instagram page and check out all the different quotes from these students and see what their perspectives are on the Bindi and the Tilak. Next, I take you over back to India, where we have Tollywood actress Ishika Singh celebrating World Bindi Day by posting on her social media. We are so blessed to be getting people from all over the world and, famous people and just everyone, students, young adults, everyone get involved with World Bindi Day. So we really appreciate your support over in India and Tollywood as well. Next, I take you over to Brazil, where we are also celebrating World Bindi Day. Here you can see a post coming from the Arsha Vijnana group, Grupo de Brazil. I apologize for that pronunciation, but we really appreciate your support and your hashtags. Next, I take you over to the leading Agarbatti producer, Cycle Pure, who is also showing their support for World Bindi Day with this beautiful post and encouraging everyone to post pictures of themselves wearing a kumkum bindi on social media and using the hashtags World Bindi Day and Bindi Pride and Mission Bindi. So we appreciate your support. Next, we have author Ami Ganatra and her daughter celebrating World Bindi Day with this adorable picture. We really have had such a wonderful outpouring of love and support from around the world, and we thank you and your daughter for your contribution. And our last picture that we want to show is comes from the largest Indian content platform, Creately, which is also showing off World Bindi Day with these posts. I will definitely encourage all of our viewers today to go and post pictures of themselves on social media and use the hashtags that you can find on World Bindi Day and Mission Bindi's webpage. I want to thank you all so much for joining us today in our celebration of World Bindi Day. This initiative is to celebrate the history, science, and significance of Bindis and Tilaks. This event is part of the larger initiative of Hindu Heritage Month and is brought to you in partnership with Mission Bindi, Hindu Students Council, and the Coalition of Hindus of North America. Once again, we'd like to thank our international partners, including British Hindus, Bhuvir, Hindus on Campus, Hindu Parents Network, Hindu Students and Youth Network, Hindu Students Council Trinidad and Tobago, Hindu Youth New Zealand, and New Zealand Hindu Students Forum, as well as all of our other partners and supporters. Thank you so much. Happy Navratri and happy World Bindi Day. Shivratri.